Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about how the situation with Dave Chappelle and Netflix, it didn't go the way that some employees thought it was going to go.
Yeah.
Some employees got suspended for complaining about the Dave Chappelle situation.
I don't think they were. It was because of that. They said there was more to it, which we're going to talk about.
Well, according to the media. According to the media.
Well, do they listen to the media anymore?
The trusted media, the New York Times, according to the media, it's because they complained. But yeah, it's complicated. It sounds to me like they broke some rules at work, and they were kind of obnoxious. And Netflix is actually choosing money and choosing their subscribers over a handful of employees that are upset.
Mm-hmm. Which, I got to give credit to them from that. I mean, I don't like cuties, and they've made some choices for some shows I don't like. They refused to change when people, cuties especially, when like most of the internet didn't like it, they refused to take it down. If they had turned around and removed this because people didn't like it, that would have been like, what the hell? But since they're sticking with it and leaving it up, just like they left other things the internet didn't like up, I will give them some respect for that. Don't respect them for picking cuties at all, but treating it all equally is something that I'm like, okay, well, at least you're treating it fairly across the board, the same.
Yeah. So I have to wonder if the pendulum isn't swinging back the other way. I mean, this on top of some other situations, lately with companies, it seems like they're starting to be like, no, you know what? Let's actually listen to the customers and not listen to Twitter. And we're going to talk about Dave Chappelle's reaction. He says, F Twitter.
Yeah. Well, hey. We said it first.
We did. We've been saying it. We got called all kinds of names.
We get called names every day.
He makes a lot more money than we do, so he can take it. We're going to talk about that. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Over 236,000 subs.
Woohoo!
Thank you for the support. We do talk about pop culture, talk about Netflix. We've been following the situation with Dave Chappelle somewhat, just to rewind it a little bit. Basically, what happened was he had his, I believe, 6th and final comedy special on Netflix. These always do very, very, very well. A handful of Netflix employees who are trans took issue with some of his mean jokes, and they decided they were going to try once again to get Dave Chappelle canceled, including one of the showrunners of Dear White People, who is white.
I just want to say, if a comedian gets up there and tells jokes and no one's offended, then they're not doing their job right. Because we grew up in a different time, I guess, because the comedians would get up and they would offend everyone. Yeah. They would offend me. They would offend you. They didn't care who you were. They'd offend all of you. They would offend everyone equally. And, people would get mad about it, but a lot of people just like move on, like, okay, whatever. Or they just be like, it is what it is. They always do this.
Yeah, so let's talk about Dave Chappelle's reaction to the latest cancellation attempt. I mean, this guy's got more money than any of these people will ever have, and from before doing the comedy specials. I mean, Chappelle was very successful. He's always been very successful. No, he's not a Republican. Everybody seems to think he's...
Oh, yeah, they always think that we are, too. And it's like, we're not.
They all think Joe Rogan is, too. Now, I'm seeing a common thread here, though. Both Joe Rogan and Dave Chappelle... say that publicly that they are liberal, right? Traditionally, they're liberals, and part of being a liberal, or what used to be part of being a liberal, was a fundamental belief in freedom of speech. Joe Rogan is incredibly popular, and Twitter tries to cancel him all the time. Dave Chappelle, same thing. Now, do these two gentlemen say things that a lot of us wouldn't say? Absolutely. Do they get paid a lot of money to say things that a lot of us wouldn't say? Absolutely. Would they get paid that much money if a lot of people didn't agree with them, or at least find what they're saying to be funny? That's the thing. And Netflix basically was like, yeah, this guy, a lot of people watch his show, and if it was that offensive, they wouldn't watch him.
Right, exactly.
And so this is his reaction. Fuck Twitter. Fuck Twitter.
Oh, I've been saying it for years now.
Dave Chappelle responds to the latest backlash at a star-studded Hollywood Bowl show. This is a couple days ago. We'll talk about this for a minute, and then we'll talk about these employees that got canned for basically stepping out of line. Now, of course, I'm sure they're going to run to Twitter and be like, this is discrimination. I'm like, you do realize you're talking about Netflix, right? Well, I mean, people are literally calling Netflix woke flicks because they're so progressive, and you know what I'm saying? So they're probably like, yeah, there's something else going on here. He said, if this is what being canceled is like, I love it. He said to a standing ovation, according to the Hollywood Reporter, the world's richest non-movie star comedian told the audience, fuck Twitter, fuck NBC News, ABC News, all these stupid ass networks.
Oh my God! Yay!
I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to you. This is real.
Thank you. Yes, this is what we've been doing. Yes. Except we don't say some of the things he says, but still, it's the same thing. We're tired of these, you know, extremists trying to tell everybody that they should all think a certain way or act a certain way or believe a certain way.
Yeah. So, you know, he goes on, he said, you know, hey, I don't hate gay people. I respect the shit out of you, not all of you. Well, that's the thing. This is the thing about equality. Like, you know, well, that's it. People don't want equality. They want equity. That's a totally different thing. But if you want equality.
They don't even want equity. They don't even want equity. They say they want equity. That's not what they want.
No. But I'm gonna assume that that's, you know, they're practicing what they preach. The reality is that if you actually want to be treated as equals, then that means that people are assholes regardless of how they identify, regardless of skin color, regardless of religion, regardless of gender, regardless of orientation. Assholes come in all different flavors.
Right. I'm not even going to go near that one. But, you know, I'm not going to repeat what he said, but he's like, you know, I respect them. That's not all of you. Same with any group of people. You have your extremists that paint everyone everybody gets painted with a broad brush because of their shitty behavior.
So these are some of his fans, right? Snoop Dogg, Nas, DJ Jazzy Jeff. Yeah, everybody forgets about Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah, they always remember, you know, the Fresh Prince.
They always remember the Fresh Prince. But I remember, that's how old I am. I remember when it was DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, and they were from Philadelphia because they were playing local shows in Philadelphia. It's like, hey, come out and see these kids, you know, just to humor them. They, you know, they'll probably never amount to anything.
Yeah.
Probably never amount to anything. Stevie Wonder, John Hamm. Stevie Wonder said, what we need to do is cancel hate. What we need to do is cancel fear, because we have love and we should never cancel that. He wants to cancel the idea of feeling that we don't want anyone to laugh, because if we don't laugh, we cry. And I don't believe that was God's intention ever. We're not allowed to laugh at anything.
You're not allowed to have any fun. You know, if you've ever done anything in your life that you shouldn't have done, which everybody has. I mean, I don't care who you are. You've all done something stupid that you should be punished forever for it because the kangaroo court of Twitter has decided. It's ridiculous. You know, I think that, yeah, everybody's so wound so tight, especially now with the things going on in the world, and you're not allowed to have fun. You're not allowed to laugh. You're not allowed to, you have to love everything they say you should love, and you're not allowed to not like it. It's gotten to the place where a lot of people feel very trapped, and that's not okay.
No, and look, I mean, I guess my thing is like, Dave Chappelle has a certain brand of comedy, and that comedy is not for everybody.
If you don't like it, don't watch it.
Yeah, if it's gonna hurt your feelings, don't watch it.
Isn't that what we keep hearing all the time? It's not for you. It's not for the children either. It's not for you. If you don't like it, just don't watch it then.
Anyway, this is coming from The Verge. They said Netflix suspends trans employee who tweeted about Dave Chappelle's special. Internally, trans employees and allies are asking executives tough questions about the line between commentary and hate.
Real quick, I want to mention that Sarah's the one who sent this over.
Okay, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Anyway.
Netflix has suspended a trans employee who tweeted about Dave Chappelle's comedy special, The Closer. In the stand-up set, which was released on October 5th, Chappelle doubles down on his jokes about LGBTQ groups. He seems to hate everybody equally.
Yeah, honestly, but they're going to use this angle. Now, the person in question, their comment's very confusing.
Yeah.
I was very confused by their comment.
Netflix software engineer Tara Field tweeted about Chappelle, writing that the comedian attacks the trans community and the very validity of transness in the special. I work at Netflix. Not anymore. Yesterday, we launched another Chappelle special where he attacks the trans community and the very validity of transness, all while trying to pit us against other marginalized groups. You're going to hear a lot of talk about offense. We're not offended. The tweet thread went viral. Of course it did. Twitter they love this shit and they hate Dave Chappelle. But he says, fuck him. He doesn't care. He's got lots of money, right? Quickly spiraling into a conversation about free speech and cancel culture, Netflix then suspended Field along with 2 other employees for trying to attend a... This is why they got
This
suspended.
is why they were really suspended.
This is their... Look, they're trying to make it out like they got suspended just for being critical of Netflix. That's not what happened. They said that these 2 other employees tried to attend a director-level meeting they weren't invited to. Another trans employee is quitting the company over how the special and Field's comments were handled. They're well within their rights to do that. I mean, they are. But company protocol is you don't barge into the boardroom.
Right.
And when you will be fired. There are some companies you work for, if you're critical of the company at all, it's in the handbook. And you sign the handbook when you started, you're done. And I guess my thing is kind of the same with the Joe Rogan situation. There are a lot of people at Spotify that don't like Joe Rogan. You don't have to work for Spotify. They paid the guy $100 million because he brings eyes and ears to Spotify.
And the money. He brings the money.
He brings the money. Do you like your job? You probably have your job in part because of Joe Rogan bringing people to the platform.
So yeah, Netflix spokesperson said, they emailed The Verge and said, it is absolutely untrue to say that we have suspended any employee for tweeting about the show. Our employees are encouraged to disagree openly and we support their right to do so. I am sure a lot of their employees didn't think Cuties was a good idea.
Yeah.
I know.
You don't have to you don't have to work for any company doing anything that you don't agree with. And there are people, I think back to days where I know some Christian people that didn't want to work for certain companies because, they're doing this or that or supporting this or that. And they're well within their rights to not work there. I mean, if it conflicts with your own personal values,
then don't work there.
Whatever they are, and that's more important to you than a paycheck. And for most people, their personal values are more important than a paycheck. Then, maybe it's time to find another job. God knows lots of places are hiring right now.
Yeah. But that isn't because of the tweets, according to Netflix. Now, of course, that's what they said. So he said, she said kind of thing. You
barge into a director meeting, anybody, any company, chances are you're going to get fired.
Most likely. Yeah. You weren't supposed to be there. They're talking about how there's a significant controversy inside Netflix. They said employees started asking pointed questions about whether or not I saw that. The Verge is producing a show for Netflix.
Not anymore.
So I'm sure they heard about it. Shortly after it came out, employees started asking pointed questions about whether or not trans people were included in the discussion to air a special where the company draws a line between commentary and transphobia. Look, here's the problem. Everybody thinks that they should have a voice on everything. You know what? You guys, I see them put up things where they like, okay, dear white people, did you make sure that you checked with all the white people that work there to make sure that was okay with them before you put it on the air?
Did you check with all the black people to make sure they were okay with the white person being the showrunner?
Right.
I'm like, saying.
This is ridiculous. Yeah. You don't have to go and poll every employee. I'm sure some people don't agree with other choices they made. Some people just get mad over a certain cartoon show they air. You're never going to make everybody happy.
Spotify is the same thing. The employees there thought that they should have a say in every person that they had, have a podcast on the platform. This happened with Kickstarter too.
I was thinking Kickstarter. Exactly what I was thinking.
They formed a union because they wanted the right. The employees wanted the right to be able to veto projects based on their own personal moral compass.
And that was the big reason they did the stupid union, because of that.
And what did Kickstarter do? Oh, they waited until the pandemic and they used it as an excuse to get rid of almost everybody in the union because they're like, our employees are not going to, your job is to help us make money. Your job is not to tell us what we can or can't promote, and everybody's going to disagree. And it's like, yeah, we're not running a business by committee. That's not how this works.
Then one of the people that were, believing that everybody should run it by those people said, we repeatedly provide a platform for content that is harmful to the trans community. These decisions have a material impact on our business, including harm to our current employees and talent declining to work with us. What is our plan on how we're going to repair the situation in particular? None of the questions seen by the Verge asked for the special to be taken down.
No, this is they're going to grill Netflix and be like, how dare you? I'm like, have you seen some of the content on Netflix?
Netflix doesn't care.
Netflix they want views, and they're going to pander to basically any group that they think is going to give them.
And
views,
for all the shows you say are offensive to one group, they have probably just may have not more that are offensive to another. They're equally offending everyone. Okay, and they're not singling you out. A lot of people have been offended before. It's welcome to the club. Go ahead.
So Netflix's co-CEO responded to the questions in internal email. It never feels good when people are hurting, especially our colleagues. So this is the letter that Ted, the co-CEO, sent out. He said, I wanted to follow up on the closer, Dave Chappelle's latest special, as several of you have reached out following QBR asking what to say to your teams. It never feels good when people are hurting, especially our colleagues.
No, I don't want to see people being upset either.
Right. So I wanted to give you some additional context. You should also be aware that some talent may join third parties in asking us to remove the show in the coming days, which we're not going to do. We're not taking it down. Chappelle is one of the most popular stand-up comedians today, and we have a long-standing deal with him. His last special, Sticks and Stones, also controversial, is our most watched, stickiest, and most award-winning stand-up special to date. As with other talent, we work hard to support their creative freedom, even though this means there will always be content on Netflix some people believe is harmful, like Cuties, 365 Days, 13 Reasons Why, or My Unorthodox Life.
So basically, we're not going to censor.
No, we're not. Several of you have also asked where we draw the line on hate. We don't allow titles on Netflix that are designed to incite hate or violence, and we don't believe the closer crosses any line. I recognize, however, that distinguishing between commentary and harm is hard.
Especially today. I mean, especially with stand-up comedy.
Yeah, which exists to push boundaries. I'm
You're not allowed to push boundaries anymore. You're not allowed to say anything anymore. You're not allowed to make people think anymore. You must obey the Borg.
Some people find the art of stand-up to be mean-spirited, but our members enjoy it, and it's important part of our content offering.
God, you can tell these people did not grow up in the 70s and 80s.
He's basically
90s.
He's basically like, yeah, I mean, Chappelle's humor is, and I mentioned that in the other video, like he is the last of the really raw, old school.
A lot of the comedians won't do it anymore because they're too afraid of it.
Jerry Seinfeld, he pussed out. He was like, I don't even play colleges anymore because he's like, I mean, that's Jerry Seinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld is milk toast. Mm-hmm. He won't play colleges anymore because people are so offended by everything. I mean, God, you people, what would you do with George Carlin?
I know.
You know? I mean, seriously, even Bill Cosby.
Carlin say?
Even Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby's, had some zingers, man.
Well, we're not even going to talk about the zingers
Bill Cosby put some pills in the zingers and...
I remember we doing the other day, and I said something, and Squid King's like, something about like Bill Cosby, and he goes, no, they'd have to be sleeping, and I was like, oh my gosh.
I still can't get over Bill Cosby, but I'm like, yeah, I mean, old school, early Robin Williams, he was, look at Comic Relief back in the 80s on HBO. Half that stuff would not fly today. That's why I think, like, if you look at Whoopi Goldberg, even on The View, she's kind of like, she doesn't go as hard in the paint as like Joy Behar, I think, because she's like, yeah, I got a lot of skeletons in my closet, a lot of shit I've said in stand-up, and she did. Whoopi was pretty raw back in the day.
It's just, I mean, how can you be funny if, that's not, here's the thing. You are allowed to be a stand-up comedian to be funny as long as you're roasting a certain type of person.
Yeah.
When you're roasting people that the Twitter doesn't like that you roast, then it's terrible. How dare you? But you're more than welcome to go up and make all kinds of jokes about people they think are problematic. That's fine. Go ahead.
I mean, you're talking about Netflix that just initiated a more strict diversity and inclusion.
They ruined He-Man over mandates.
You got freaking She-Ra. Like they ruined
She-Ra too.
Ruined She-Ra to make you happy, and you're going to get pissed off about Dave Chappelle, which is Chappelle is probably paying your salary. People are subscribing to Netflix for this kind of content with mass appeal.
Netflix knows they're probably better off to appeal to lots of the groups than just one small group.
Don't watch it.
In terms of our commitment to inclusion, we're working hard to ensure more people see their lives reflected on screen, and the underrepresented communities are not defined by a single story. Meanwhile, you all stereotype the hell out of everyone in Hollywood. You can keep doing that. So I find that kind of funny. So we're proud of titles like Sex Education, Young Royals, Control Z, and Disclosure. Externally, particularly in stand-up comedy, artistic freedom is obviously a very different standard of speech than what we allow internally, as the goals are different. Entertaining people versus maintaining a respectful, productive workplace. So basically, they're probably like, well, you couldn't say that at work. Of course you couldn't.
Yeah, you're also not bringing in millions of subscribers, millions and millions of dollars in revenue. When you yourself are bringing in millions and millions and millions of dollars in revenue, they'll probably let a few things slide.
Right.
You know?
Today's conversation on entertaining the world was timely. These are hard and uncomfortable issues. We all bring different values and perspectives, so thank you for being part of the conversation. It's important we're clear about our operating principles. Ted, basically, you can whine all you want. We're not going to take it down because we didn't think it crossed the line. We don't allow things that cross the line, but they put cuties up. But, you know, I do respect the fact that they are being even-handed with it. Because, like, for example, the whole Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing.
Yeah.
There's tons of evidence against Amber Heard. Okay? Tons of it. Yet somehow she gets to keep working and Johnny Depp does it. And where I stand is either you fire them both or you let them both work. Because there's just as much evidence against her as they supposedly had, I'm doing air quotes, against Johnny Depp. Thing is, you're letting one continue to have a career, one not. That's not cool. Either you cancel them both or you let them both work. And at least Netflix is you know, keeping it fair. I don't like cuties. I think it's stupid. I won't even watch it. I thought it was really pushing boundaries in a way I don't feel comfortable with. So I just didn't watch it. But I respect the fact that they are treating it evenly.
Yeah. Now, you know, will they cave to pressure? Because even GLAAD is slamming Netflix now. But I mean, this is the thing. It's like
they didn't cave to pressure when everybody came after them for cuties, and there was a hell of more people coming after them for cuties than this.
Oh, people unsubscribed, their stock dropped, and they held their ground on that. So I mean, yeah, and people would rightfully call them out and be like, wait a second. You've got a movie that's basically P-word. But you won't pull that. But you know, a handful of your employees complain about this Chappelle special, and you buckle.
Right. I'm just like, you know, I think it's fair to keep it all, you know, even. I don't have to agree with it. I don't watch what I don't think is something I should watch, or I will agree with.
Yeah, I mean, that's it too. Like, and this is with any, you know, any set of moral values. You know, it's talking about, you know, like Christians I knew who wouldn't work at certain businesses because they didn't approve. You're responsible for what you do, how you make your money, how you live your life, regardless of what your moral compass is. And if a place you're working at or something you could be watching conflicts with your moral compass, then that's something you have to work through. And if you're like, I can't watch this because I just don't feel right about it, don't watch it. I can't eat this food because it goes against my religious beliefs, and don't eat it.
Right.
Nobody's holding you down.
But you shouldn't tell everybody else they can't watch it or eat it because you don't want to. I mean, it is what it is. I'm sorry if you were offended by what was said. I'm sure people were, because it's a comedy special. Yeah. I know that he says stuff I didn't like. But I also grew up at a time where comedians did this all the time, and it was like, okay, you can choose to laugh with them or just not watch it.
Yeah, I used to watch all kinds of raw shit on HBO back in the day when I was like, 12, 15 years old. You know, it was, he is, like I said, he is a product of a different generation. He's one of the last of the comedians who are actually allowed to be funny.
You have the balls to do it? And I'm referring to women or men with that?
Yeah, and he's kicking ass because of it. You know, because people want that again. They want to be able to laugh again and not have to worry about like, oh, you know, I said something off color. Am I going to be canceled? He's like, fuck Twitter. Twitter's not real. And I think these companies are starting to realize Twitter's not real. Twitter is a very, very small subsect of the world, and with a lot of bot accounts, a lot of old accounts trying to dictate the entertainment industry, politics, the media, and real people don't use it. Like your mom's not going to use Twitter. They're not using Twitter.
Most people don't use Twitter. I'm sorry.
They don't.
So
we're going to wrap this one up. Mm-hmm. All right, guys. So please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.
Bye.